Full size. I know y'all didn't think we were going to let the socialists, the democratic socialists, get through the day without me ripping them a new one over what are absolute failures of this so-called socialist agenda in every major city that these people control. This is something that is becoming way too common, but we have reached a point where we are almost on a daily basis hearing stories of the failures of democratic socialism and the people who ascribe to that idiocy all over the country. Brandon Johnson has major bad news. His city's on fire. Zoran Mamdani has major bad news. He's under attack by the Jewish community. And LA Mayor Karen Bass has just received a devastating report on homelessness in her city. I want y'all to follow me. These liars, these thieves, they have been allowed to deceive the people long enough. We won't stand for it. We are going to keep exposing them for as long as it takes for us to drive this idea of socialism out of our community for good. Shout out to my boy Azazel in the building. Let's tap into this.
This will become a food desert. Finding grocery stores in this neighborhood is already as hard as it is.
Every day, you'll find these dental assistants shopping at Save-A-Lot near 79th and Halstead on their lunch break.
You have to think about those that are on fixed income, like the elderly people. It's affordable for them. It's close. It's accessible. So I really think it would be really detrimental to shut this store down within this community.
The store is in Alderman David Moore's ward.
What I hope happens next is that Yellow Banana finds another supplier that they can work with. That's what I'm hoping.
The city tells us Yellow Banana, Save-A-Lot, the city, and other financial partners are discussing opportunities to keep the stores open with potential investors or new suppliers. There were ribbon cuttings and grand reopenings after the city gave Yellow Banana $13.5 million to help refurbish 6 of the 7 stores, which are supposed to stay open through 2035. If they close, they must reopen as grocery stores within a year. The city's also looking at ways to recoup taxpayer funding if necessary.
I'm going to continue to.
So 7 grocery stores are closing in a certain area of the city of Chicago, which would then create a food desert. The city is already engaging in major socialist practices where they're giving taxpayer dollars to privately owned businesses, which really is called picking winners and losers, something that should never happen. And in spite of the $13.5 million that the city gave these businesses are still shutting down. The Save-A-Lot brand, which was working in cooperation with Yellow Banana, has decided to cut ties with Yellow Banana after the sudden death of the owner of the Yellow Banana franchise. Here's the issue. Brandon Johnson's horrible policies They already ran out Walmart. Brandon Johnson's horrible policies, they already ran out John Deere. Brandon Johnson's horrible, draconian, socialist, communist taxation policies have already driven hundreds of businesses, entrepreneurs, and wealthy people out of the city of Chicago. Understand that. So as we see the Save-A-Lot stores begin to close, what you're looking for is a multimillionaire or an investment firm to step up and say, you know what? We know that this neighborhood needs grocery stores. So we're going to invest in this business, in these grocery stores, or we're going to open new grocery stores so that this area doesn't become a food desert. Here's the problem. When you run all of the millionaires, investors, entrepreneurs, and companies out of the city, there's no one left to save these stores. There's no one left to save these stores. So while the stupid, idiotic residents of Chicago sit up and praise socialism, while the black residents of Chicago vote for Brandon Johnson because he looked like us and he wanted us, sit back and stew and poop. Sit back and deal with the repercussions of your ignorant, idiotic, low information voting practices. Because now the chickens are coming home to roost. You are learning that your consequences have actions. I mean, your actions have consequences. Ever since they've been talking this socialism crap, businesses and wealthy people have been fleeing the city of Chicago. Now, the same people who said they carried signs, the same people who were saying, eat the rich, the same people who laughed about the rich and the businesses fleeing the city. Ain't it crazy how now they want the same people they drove out of the city to save them?
Well, here we go again. Another store in the neighborhood is just going away. Look at this. This is crazy. They lost every store in the hood, y'all. Every
Yep.
store in the neighborhood is just out of here. Everything's 50% off. This is crazy.
Of course
Well,
you
we
did.
gotta go shop at now for food. To buy Save-A-Lot on 107th and Halsted. This is crazy. Guess you're on the list. Listen.
So he gonna cry about the stores leaving. But let's go ask that guy who he voted for mayor. Why would you cry about the store leaving when you literally voted for a candidate that ran on a platform that every single business owner in the city warned would force them out of the city? Why you voted for you voted for a candidate in Brandon Johnson in Chicago. You voted for a candidate who literally drove McDonald's out of downtown Chicago. You voted for a candidate who ran on the idea of charging companies to hire workers. Think about that. People need jobs. Brandon Johnson said that the reason people are doing violence is because they don't have jobs. But then he penalizes the companies for giving jobs to the people he said are only doing violence because they don't have jobs. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. This is exactly why I tell black people, the minute you get some money, get the hell out of the black community. The minute you get some money, get the hell out of the black community and to every other race of people. When you see black folks trying to move into your neighborhood in large numbers, run them out. Drive them out. Discriminate against them because they will bring this ignorance and this self-destructive behavior and these self-destructive voting practices. They will bring it to your community. We are literally seeing black Democrats leave the states that they've destroyed by voting Democrat, blue, no matter who, for decades. They're going to red states. And do you think that they are learning their lesson? No, they're not. No, they're not. They're going to red states and they are trying to flip the red states blue. They're trying to turn the red states that they had to flee to once the liberal insanity became so unbearable that they couldn't afford it anymore. They couldn't afford to live there anymore. They're trying to turn the red states into those places. When a group of people behaves in that way, the only rational, logical conclusion you can come to is that these people are suffering from either severe mental illness or these people have a suicidal desire to destroy themselves and anyone who comes close to them. This is what they voted for. This is what they decided was best for them. And now they are dealing with the consequences of their actions. I don't feel sorry for them at all. And neither should you. When you try to prey on the rich, when you try to prey on people who make investments, who foolishly make investments in the black community, guess what? You're going to be left with nowhere to buy food. And pretty soon, if things keep going the way they've been going, you're going to be left with nowhere to live. As the city runs the land, like cities like New York, run landlords out of the city and try to take over their buildings. But this is what the people are voting for. So I don't want to hear no complaints. I don't know why this nigga looking all sad. This is what you voted for, Rastaman. Why? Because Trump racist. But Trump. But Trump. Hey, sound like rich dude on YouTube begging for money. Listen, I got out the black neighborhood a long time ago because I saw where it was going. Now they crying because they ain't got nowhere to buy food.
I know the struggle. I was there. I saw it. So it's like, man, another blow to the community and ain't nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, we have nothing. You know, so I don't know what we're going to do. There's nothing around here. No stores. This is based on the store you can come to. You know, that you get fresh produce and, you know, get groceries for little or nothing.
Listen. The blow to the community was voting for Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson told you that he was going to create an environment that made it almost impossible for companies to do business. He told you. He told you. People like me who've been on here for years, we warned you. We warned you. I was a coon, a bootlicker. I'm spewing white supremacist talking points. You know, the usual criticisms that come towards anybody in the Black community who dares to use common sense. And now look at you complaining. Look at your mama. Look at your grandma. Don't even got nowhere to go eat, buy food at. Because we need to eat the rich. The corporations need to pay their fair share. Didn't we tell you when you tax these folks? Didn't we tell you that it's not just, oh, we're going to take from them and nothing's going to happen? There's consequences for everything you do. But as Brandon Johnson tries to implement more taxes on these companies, they're doing exactly what everyone said they wouldn't do. They're leaving. They are leaving. Exactly what these people laughed and joked and said, they ain't gonna go nowhere. They not gonna leave. Well, right? Right? But they are leaving. How are you going to tax a company that stays in your city despite the theft, violence, and degeneracy that hurts their store every single day? Y'all mad that the companies are leaving. Y'all mad that grocery stores are shutting down. But y'all on the internet bragging and celebrating people who brag about stealing.
Oh, I hope that don't waste my shit. Stick. Thank you. Yep.
The lady then stole sushi. The lady then stole oxtails. This is what's going on in stores in the Black community. Then they wonder why don't nobody want to open up in the Black community, but then they also want to complain when stores leave. There is not, listen, bro. The stores operating in the Black community are already on life support. When you then elect a Democratic Socialist mayor whose answer to all the problems is, well, we just gonna raise taxes. That's the death nail in the coffin. They can't survive. And they're not gonna run a store for free in your community. But you know what the answer to this is? The answer is, we just need government-owned grocery stores. Those aren't gonna work either. Those aren't going to work either. The government is not in the grocery business. You're going to have to drive 5 or 10 miles to go to the grocery store. You might as well get comfortable with it. And then when you go try to steal over there, they're going to do you like those 2 Black women who lost their life trying to steal out of those white stores earlier this year. They're going to unalive you. They're going to unalive you. They're going to kill you. And you're going to be on the internet crying, hooping and hollering, begging somebody to walk down the street and say your name. And I'm not going to do it. All I'm going to say is I told your black ass so. That's all I'm going to say. See, back in the day, there was this old saying. When you just wouldn't learn your lesson, right? What's your big mama say? Your big mama say, "Oh, you don't think fat meat greasy." Y'all know that? If you're real black, you heard that before. You don't think fat meat greasy. You know what that saying means? That saying means that you are a person who is stubborn. You're a person that's hard-headed. You're a person who ignores obvious truths so that you can continue to walk in ignorance. That is the black community. That is the black community. Let me just ask you a question. When you see this lady stealing from this store, do you think she's the only one stealing? If the company put food on the shelf, oxtails, they're expensive, right? Right? If she steal, and then 20, 30 more people after her come in and steal every day, 7 days a week, 24/70. Do you realize that over time, that represents millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in losses for the company? Do you realize that? Black folks won't speak out against their own who do the crime. They won't speak out against the people in their community who undermine every single good thing we got. But they'll try to put pressure on the company when they say we had enough. We are no longer able to operate in this area because the theft and violence and animalistic behavior is making it impossible for us to make a profit. And they shut their store down. They leave. They don't just take their groceries with them. They take their jobs with them. They take the little economy that they created. They take that with them. And they just open the store in an area where people have sense. They open a store in an area where people take pride in their community. They could take that same store, open it in a little village where the Hispanics are, and the store be just fine. And look at this. Keep grifting. So me telling the truth about black folks and why stores constantly leave our communities, that's a grift. That's a grift. And y'all, that's the problem. People like Doof Bay Booth, they are the problem. The truth hurts them so much. These people have gone their entire lives lying. This dude, mama lied to him. His daddy, if he was around, lied to him. His granny, her lying ass, lied to him. It's to the point where this person believed that the truth is an offensive thing. Pray that you never get to the point where you are offended by the truth. Because the attitude that this guy has, right? This is exactly the attitude that caused these stores to shut down and leave that community. It's so funny that the more they try to defend their ignorant position, the more they expose what they tried to hide. The fact that it's not the companies, it's not racism, it's just us. We love criminality. We celebrate degenerate behavior. And it really doesn't even know any age limits from the top to the bottom, from the great grandma to the infant laying in a crib. Black folks celebrate degeneracy. Black folks hate rules. Black folks despise authority, even when the rules and the authority are what is keeping them safe. Even when the rules and the authority are keeping them fed. We are viciously opposed to law and order. Many of us are viciously opposed to basic civility. If we weren't, why do we stay in the violent neighborhoods? If we weren't, why do we stay in the crime-ridden communities? You could blame the white man. Well, the white man made it like this, but the white man ain't forcing you to stay there. Because you love degeneracy, because you are degenerate. You love criminality, because even though you might be too cowardly to commit the criminal act yourself, you celebrate criminal behavior. You look up to the people who do the crime. Let's get my boy L.A. Thorne the Martian's comment. You aren't lying, man. I live in Ashbury Park, New Jersey. And the Dollar Tree I used to do cashier work at years ago packed up and left. It was all down to too much theft. The same as the Walgreens. Now you need a taxi or a car to get to the store. That's the way they want it. That's the way those black folks in that area want it. They want to have to go to, they want to go where white folks at. The white folks, they say, oh, they racist, they don't like us. But you'll drive every business out of your own community to the point where you're forced to dwell among them. You're forced to do business among them. It's a sad situation as we watch this lady pull oxtails out of her purse. This fool talking about, oh, it's just another blow to the community. Yeah. They gave the community exactly what they wanted. Look. There's a group called Chicago Flips Red. And they really want the people of Chicago to start voting Republican, conservative. And I understand why. Because as long as black people continue to vote Democrat, we will continue on this decline, into degenerate behavior. Chicago Flips Red, we've been following this story since 2023. Now the Save-A-Lot is closing. This is not a new story for Chicago Flips Red. Since 2023, we have been following the South Halstead Save-A-Lot because it raises serious questions about taxpayer funding, redevelopment, food access, and property rights. The city of Chicago invested $13.5 million in TIF funding into 6 Save-A-Lot stores through redevelopment agreements intended to improve grocery access in underserved neighborhoods. Those agreements require the location to remain grocery stores through 2035. If a store closes, the agreement generally requires it to be reoccupied by another grocery store operator within the required time frame or risk default. The Department of Planning and Development has stated that its priority is keeping the stores open and recovering taxpayer funds if necessary. One of those locations is 7908 South Halstead Avenue. According to Leroy Singleton, owner of the former Sandpiper Lounge, and Charlene Marsh, founder of Notre Dame Affordable Housing Incorporated, the property and parking lot are connected to their property interest. They allege they have not received any payment or compensation from the city of Chicago, Yellow Banana, Save-A-Lot, or Q2 Realty related to this property. Meanwhile, South and West Side neighborhoods continue to struggle with grocery access, even after millions of taxpayer dollars were invested in projects intended to bring full-service grocery stores back to these communities. If a taxpayer helped finance these developments, where's the long-term plan to keep the store open, support local families, and ensure neighborhoods have reliable access to fresh food? At the same time, Illinois has spent billions of dollars on a wide range of public programs over the past several years. Taxpayers have a right to ask whether these priorities have produced the results they were promised. Chicago Flips Red believes it's time for the forensic audit of taxpayer spending related to major city and state initiatives, including grocery redevelopment projects, migrant response spending, and other publicly funded programs. Chicago taxpayers deserve to know, where did the taxpayer money go? Were the redevelopment agreements fulfilled? Who is accountable for protecting these grocery stores and the public investment? What is the status of the long-standing property dispute involving 7908 South Halstead? How will the city ensure these grocery stores do not lose another essential, these neighborhoods do not lose another essential grocery store? We've been following this story since 2023. We'll continue asking questions until Chicago taxpayers receive transparency, accountability, and answers. Those are the questions that need to be asked. But I'll tell you one thing, when you spend $2.5 billion on illegal, criminal, alien migrants, that's definitely not going to help you keep grocery stores open. Straight up. The teachers can't get the money they need. The grocery stores are closing all over the place. Chicago is laying off 1,500 educators. But as they lay off 1,500 educators, they're hiring hundreds of bilingual educators. The city prioritized illegal immigrants. And just as Barack Obama warned you 16 years ago, the influx of illegal immigrants disproportionately impacts African Americans in a negative way. But you didn't want to listen. We can pull up video. From 16 years ago of Hillary Clinton slamming illegal immigrants, slamming the Bush administration for not doing enough to stop the influx of illegal immigrants across the border. Barack Obama slamming the Bush administration over not doing enough to deal with illegal immigration. We can go back 20 years ago. No, we can go back 30 years ago and watch video of Bill Clinton slamming the Republicans' immigration policy, slamming Ronald Reagan, slamming George H.W. Bush over their immigration policy. But fast forward all these years later, these people are literally taking your taxpayer dollars and giving it to illegal criminal alien migrants to the tune of $2.5 billion. And while that's really bad, right? What's worse is you're voting for them to do that. What makes it worse is you are voting for your own replacement. You are literally funding the candidates and party that is literally displacing you. They are displacing you in real time. And you see it, but you can't say anything about it because they told you if you actually believe in the great replacement theory, well, that makes you a white supremacist. It ain't no theory no more. We see it in practice. It's unfolding right in front of our very eyes. You don't have grocery stores while illegal immigrants are living free. They got a year in a 5-star hotel. They got $12,000 put on the EBT card. They got websites in New York. New York created a website to help illegal criminal alien migrants get government jobs. And what do you get? Nothing. You get to drive 20 miles to go to the grocery store. After your city officials, in all their wisdom, gave $13.5 million of your money to these very same stores. But one thing I'll say about that is this. You could give them $100 million. If black folks steal every day out of the store, you might as well have given them nothing at all. You might as well have given them nothing at all. Because when the city goes to Save-A-Lot and tries to hold them accountable for shutting down the stores after taking $13.5 million of taxpayer money, they're going to say, yeah, but the theft. They're going to say the theft. The theft.
All Greens should be charged.
The theft made it impossible for us to do business. And I know they don't want to pull up those. I know the city ain't going to say, well, let's see the numbers on how much the theft really cost y'all. Because I bet it's well over 20, 30, 40 million dollars. These people was just complaining about Walmart leaving Chicago.
All Greens should be charged with first-degree corporate abandonment. Yes. It should be a crime the way they're treating our elders. Yes. It should be a crime the way they're treating our families.
Walgreens should be charged, not the criminals stealing the stores to the stealing to the point where the store can't stay in business. Do you ever notice that black folks, when they get on a podium, they never want to address the role that black criminality plays in the situation? You just can't even bring it up. Or you're a self-hater, you're a coon. Guys, do you think if a store, just based on the laws of capitalism, if a store had an opportunity to make a profit, do you think they would shut the store down? If the store had an opportunity to make a profit, do you think they would shut the store down? It goes against the very laws of capitalism to shut down stores that are profitable. The store is there to make money. And at one point, the store was actually able to make money. But then the morality broke down in the Black community to the point of no return, to where everybody's walking around with a criminal mindset. They stopped funding the police. They stopped arresting criminals. And it got to the point where people who wouldn't even normally be inclined to steal developed a habit of stealing simply based on the fact that they knew they would never be held accountable. Simply because there was zero threat of actually going to jail. So when you tell people, hey, if you steal, you're not going to go to jail, why are you surprised when they start stealing? Wouldn't that be what you expect them to do? When you tell somebody, hey, there's no consequences for your actions, why are you surprised when they operate in a degenerate way? But see, because the police wouldn't protect them, because the city wouldn't protect them from crime, the stores did the only thing they could. They protested with their feet. They got up and they left. Something that Brandon Johnson told you was not going to happen. But now it's happening. Now your big mama got to ride an hour and a half on the bus to go pick up her prescription and get some groceries. You don't think fat meat greasy. Black folks feel like the rules don't apply to them. Brian Shepard, I'm with you. No teachers, no grocery stores. You forgot, no pharmacies. The Black community is already a dystopian place. You ever watch those dystopian movies set far in the future where like the world has collapsed? Like Book of Eli. The Black community is already like that. Lawlessness, no law enforcement. You can't even go to the grocery store to buy a meal to feed your kids. No pharmacy, can't go to the pharmacy to get the prescription medication you need because you've eaten yourself to the point where you got all this chronic illness. Hospitals and stuff shutting down. But we keep blaming everybody else. But that's why the internet is such a beautiful place. Because I can draw a straight line from the voting habits of Black people all the way to 7 Save-A-Lot grocery stores shutting down. Another thing my grandma used to say, it's going to tell on you before you tell on it. Black folks have spent decades lying about the cause of the problems in our community. But this internet, it's exposing us. It's exposing us. I think Walgreens should be charged with first-degree community abandonment. If Walmart abandoned the community, what the hell are Pookie and Ray Ray doing? And why aren't you calling for them to be charged?
Walgreens should be charged with first-degree corporate abandonment. Yes. It should be a crime the way they're treating our elders. Yes. It should be a crime the way they're treating our families.
It's just crazy to me how this buffoon could get on stage behind a microphone and blame a corporation for leaving his community when his community drove the corporation out, when his community made it impossible for the corporation to do business. The Black Democrats set up the Black community to fail. And when they got Obama in there, it was the nail in the coffin for the Black community and minds. F Obama, he should be in prison. And then the Black politician moved to a white neighborhood. They not struggling to find grocery stores. The Black bourgeoisie who encouraged the ignorant Black poor to vote Democrat, they had Whole Foods. They had Erewhon. They're shopping at Trader Joe's. Why you ain't got nowhere to go, so now you got to shop at the Dollar Tree. And y'all gonna start stealing from there, and they gonna have to shut down. But when you vote to defund the police, when you act like law and order is like a cancer to you, when you basically vote for lawlessness, you shouldn't even complain about the results of that, because it's exactly what you wanted. Be careful what you wish for, you might get it. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. I have no remorse. I feel God has said they already stealing from Dollar Tree. Yeah, that's all we do. That's all we do. Do crime and then blame and get mad at people because they don't want to be around. They don't like us. Of course they don't like you. I don't like you. You're a degenerate. The black folks with sense do not like black degenerates. We just got to deal with you because a lot of y'all in our damn family. My own family member came and stayed with me. She was homeless for 7 years with kids, couch surfing. I let her come over here. I had to throw her ass out my house. And I said, yeah, and you're so trifling, you're not even going to go get a place. Guess what? She went and got a place. She willfully stayed homeless. She willingly stayed homeless because she didn't want to have to use the money she had for rent. She wanted to use that, living the high life, going to fancy restaurants and drinking up in Hollywood and stuff. So she chose to be homeless with her children so she could live a fake life on Instagram. But once the family closed their doors and said, you can't come back, you ain't coming up in here, and her little friends who would let her come stay, once they said, nope, no more, you can't come here, she had a place like that in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's black folks. A lot of us just got a degenerate mindset. A lot of us just have the degenerate mindset. That's just the way it is. So now, that was the first example of socialism failing. Mayor Johnson is a democratic socialist failure in the city of Chicago. Now we got to go to another Democrat socialist failure in the city of New York. Zohran Mamdani is now under fire from the Jewish community, right? After a Jewish man was stabbed leaving the synagogue. What makes this ironic is that many Jewish people, ironically, well, I already said makes it ironic, support Zohran Mamdani. They actually said, we know Zohran could kill us, but we would rather have him than Trump. And this is another classic example of people putting their own safety in jeopardy, right? This is another example of people putting their own safety in jeopardy because of but Trump. TDS is real. TDS is rampant, and TDS is life threatening. TDS is life threatening. You got Jewish folks now getting stabbed while coming from synagogue in the city of New York. Something you never thought you would live to see in that city, in that great city. Let me get this story real quick. I'm trying to man stabbed. Here we go. And the man who stabbed him was screaming, Allahu Akbar. Let that sink in. But this is what y'all wanted.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Let's ask this guy who he voted for. I voted for Mamdani because I hate Trump. Trump is a scumbag. Yep. And now Allahu Akbar done got your ass. Trump didn't jump out the bushes and stab your ass. That's for damn sure. Allahu Akbar got you. They got you. Did they have this guy? Are they arresting this dude? Oh, so they caught the guy who stabbed him. This is the guy right here. He stabbed Brody and yelled out, Allahu Akbar. He looks demented. Now, 2 Jewish men have been stabbed in New York City on Manhattan's Upper West Side.
It's coming.
It was meant to be a day to commemorate the tragedies that have befallen the Jewish people throughout our history. But when a member of our community was stabbed on his way out of the synagogue, the evil we gathered to remember stopped belonging to the past. Suddenly, it was right here in the present. When public officials repeatedly cast the Jewish community as a stand-in for actions of the Israeli government to create a climate in which Jews become targets. You know, when I was growing up, the only time we saw security outside of my synagogue or outside of my Jewish day school was when the mayor came to speak. The police were there to protect him. Today, every time the mayor speaks, we need the police to protect us. Jewish life in America is starting to feel like Jewish life in Europe. Armed guards, bulletproof glass, and the constant fear that yesterday's rhetoric will turn into today's assault. So many people know Moshe, so many people can't.
Hey, but this is what they voted for. This is what they voted for. Because of but Trump. Trump ain't the one that's gonna kill you. Trump ain't the one that's gonna lay you low. But Trump. Now you scared. Now you scared. Now you scared and you can't even go to synagogue because they waiting on you. Because Allahu was over there waiting on you. But Trump. Ain't this, hey, I'm telling you. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, and this might be messed up for me to say this, but it kind of makes me feel like a little bit less like embarrassed by the way black people vote against their own best interests. Because now I'm starting to see this is kind of just a Democrat thing. This is kind of just a liberal thing. These people are literally suicidal. These people have what is called suicidal empathy, where they feel so sorry for another group of people that they are willing to destroy themselves by supporting policies and people who do not have their best interest at heart. But Trump.
Care about him. He was just trying to pray at his synagogue. And now we're the ones praying for his recovery.
But he voted for a
To have been
terrorist.
stabbed 200 feet from the Jewish center evokes all the worst images of the Jewish past. If a Jew can't feel safe walking home from shul in broad daylight on a Thursday afternoon on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, then something has gone profoundly wrong, not only for the Jewish community, but for our city. I want to thank Micah for calling right away to offer his support.
Hey, something's gone wrong with the city. Y'all voted yourself up the river. There was an interview that I played with this white lady. She was like, I'm Jewish, and I know Zoran could kill us, but anybody's better than Trump. Well, guess what? That's what this is. This right here is anybody's better than Trump.
I think he's legitimating hate.
Even Alan Dershowitz, lifelong Democrat, even Alan Dershowitz is speaking out against Zoran Mamdani now.
I think he's legitimating hate, legitimating anti-Semitism. Says the city doesn't tolerate hate. He ought to look in. He is the greatest perpetrator of anti-Jewish hate in modern American history. He reminds me of some of the people, not Hitler, I wouldn't ever make an analogy, but some of the people in the Nazi Party in 1932 and 1933 when they were running for office, and when Jews didn't feel safe in the streets of Berlin or Hamburg. And many Jews don't feel safe today. My family lived on the York, where these two people were subject to a knife attack with somebody yelling Allah Akbar. And that's why we're going to start a campaign to show that New Yorkers really do support Jews and support Israel. When Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, we're planning to bring together 100,000 New Yorkers from every background: Italian Americans, Greek Americans, Irish Americans, Jewish Americans, Muslim Americans, to greet him in Central Park, 100,000 people, to say, you're welcome in our New York. You may not be welcome in Gracie Mansion, in that place of bigotry on the Upper East Side, but you're welcome in New York. And we want you, and we want to show our admiration for the state of Israel. So we're going to fight fire with something better than fire. And we're going to show that the people of New York don't agree with Mamdani. They have voted for him. They have elected him. He may be charming and all of that. Look, a lot of Nazis had charm too. This guy is the closest thing. I'm now almost 88 years old. I've seen it all. This is the closest thing I've seen to Nazi Germany in the presence of Mamdani. Worse than ANC, almost as bad, probably as bad as Bernie Sanders. The thing that makes Bernie Sanders so terrible is he's a Jewish anti-Semite, at least Jewish on his parents' side, coming from Brooklyn. But he too has been fanning the flames of anti-Semitism. And Bernie Sanders has been supporting every one of these anti-Semitic bigots. And so, we're in for a real problem, and we have to fight back.
I mean, Dershowitz is not wrong. Dershowitz is not wrong. He's telling the truth. This guy, Zoran Mamdani, is straight dog whistling anti-Semitism. Everyone knows it, but no one wants to say it because nobody wants to get the doofus class angry. You got people like Jay Dominguez. As long as they throw out Epstein, anything they believe, anything they do is acceptable. Imagine living in a world like that. As long as I throw out Epstein, any crazy deranged thing I do is acceptable. Hey, shout out to my brother, Mr. Ed What. They eating at Whole Foods. What the hell y'all talking about? 100%. 100%. He was talking about the last story where the black folks done voted themselves right up out of the grocery store. They done voted the grocery stores right up out of their community, defending criminals and defending degenerates and voting for degenerates to run their city like Brandon Johnson. It's real sad. But yeah, I truly feel Zoran Mamdani is dog whistling anti-Semitism, man. I mean, let me know how y'all feel in the comments, but it's just obvious. And you ask him a direct question, he just won't answer it. But the guy's wife celebrated October 7th. She probably celebrates 9/11 too. And you cannot be married to someone like that without at least sharing some of their sentiments. It's ridiculous. The forest shrank because the trees kept voting for the axe because it had a wooden handle. That's exactly what this is. New Yorkers are going to vote for their own destruction because, but Trump. After a while, that song gets old, man. It loses its appeal. You're destroying your city because you don't like someone who has no ability to impact your city at all. Joe T. Yep. He's the paid front for the Hegelian dialect. If you don't know what that is, that's where they create a problem and then they make you pay them to fix it. They create, they say, oh, we got a problem with termites. They release some termites on your property. And then they come down the street 3 days later and say, hey, do you need somebody to treat your property for termites? Like Dell Gribble off of King of the Hill. Remember when Dell released the fire ants on Hank's property? Because he was short on money. He didn't have money. So he released the fire ants on Hank's property so Hank could pay him to get rid of them. That's what these people are doing. He is a hired thug to sow confusion and genus fighting. Was that supposed to say genus fighting? But yeah. And Zoran, what's crazy about bro, he looks like he just gets a big kick out of it. He doesn't care. He don't give a damn. All right, guys. We doing real good. We doing real good in the hood. We got one more story to cover. Yes, I'm a Trump lover. I am a Trump lover. No, let me say it in a way, Jay Dominguez. Let me say it in a way you understand. I'm a Trump lover. I would change the V to a B like Mexican. Lover. I'm a Trump lover. Me, Trump es mi amor. Trump, me, mucho gusto. I don't know Spanish. I'm just bullshitting. But this is our last one because we got two. So 2 Democrat socialists are absolutely failing. Violence, crime, companies leaving the cities. People don't feel safe. Man, y'all would be out your mind to vote for these people in the midterm. Y'all gotta be out your mind to vote for these people in the midterm. Now, next, we got our last and final Democrat socialist, LA Mayor Karen Bass, right? I want to give you guys an idea of how this idiotic, degenerate, Democrat socialist parasite thinks. This is Karen Bass on homelessness in LA and the prevalence of drug use.
You sleep out on the street for a couple of weeks and tell me that you're not using something to stay sane or use meth so that you don't go to sleep to protect yourself.
After the speech, we asked the mayor to clarify. You said that people are on the street using meth for protection?
Well, no, what I said is no. What I said is that I know that people have used meth to stay awake at night so they don't fall asleep because they're worried about being assaulted. Meth is not protection. You sleep out on the street for a
This lady is an absolute idiot. I live in Los Angeles. Ain't nobody using meth to stay up all night so that they can feel safe. Because the same people, if they have some, will use some fentanyl, which will have them pass the fuck out in the middle of the damn street. I live in LA. This lady is full of crap. They are trying to convince you that shit is Shinola. Well, you sleep out on the street and see if you don't use some meth. I don't care if I was sleeping on the sidewalk in a damn sleeping bag. I'm not about putting no meth pipe to my damn lips. I ain't about to put no meth pipe to these soup coolers. This lady is just disgusting. She's just disgusting. And now she has received nightmare news as homelessness that she lied and said she was fixing has now surged to record levels. Let's tap in.
Distressing news in LA's ongoing effort to bring the unhoused population inside. The LA Homeless Services Authority has released the findings of their 2026 Greater LA Homeless Count, and following 2 years of declines, homelessness is once again on the rise. According to the report released today, there are more than 73,000 unhoused people in LA County, a year-to-year increase of 1.2%. In the city of Los Angeles, homelessness was up about 3.4% to 45,194 people. That increase driven by a nearly 8% increase of unsheltered homeless, those living outdoors or in their vehicles. Mayor Bass reacting to the increase, blaming the increases in homelessness on the rising cost of living and funding cuts. Listen.
I will not accept that in the greatest city in the world, people are suffering and dying on our streets. On my very first day as mayor, I declared a state of emergency because the system the city had in place for 30 years was and is broken. That's why I launched Inside Safe, to bring people indoors immediately.
Yeah, you launched Inside Safe and homelessness went up. You launched Inside Safe and homelessness went up. But guys, you might look at me and say, hey, this guy's a jerk. He's acting like he cares about homelessness. He's an asshole. Guys, listen. Your boy is in the field, man. I was just on Facebook. There's a guy, he's doing like a documentary on homelessness. He's a shill. That's what he is. He's a shill for people like Karen Bass. And what they do is they put together these puff pieces to make it look like people like Karen Bass are actually doing their job, and they're not. So he's like, oh, I'm doing a documentary on homelessness in LA, and we need to get to know these people. We need to get to know these people who are behind homelessness, right? We need to understand homelessness in LA. I commented on that dude's page. I said, we don't need to understand shit. We don't need to understand anything about homelessness in LA. Because homelessness in LA is something that is manufactured. It's not a natural occurrence. It's not organic. I'm going to read this little top part. Look at. So he says, homelessness is one of the most talked about issues in Long Beach. We debate the numbers, discuss the costs, and search for solutions. But before we can solve a problem, we have to understand it. So if we don't understand the problem, why are we giving billions of dollars to fix the problem already? We don't understand the problem. But we've already given billions of dollars to fix the problem. So I got it under this buffoon's page, and I said, manufactured problem. If y'all could see that. I said, manufactured problem. He gets under me and says, if you believe it's a manufactured problem, I'd be interested in hearing what evidence leads you to that conclusion. This series is intended to examine the data, explore different viewpoints, and discuss what solutions might actually work. I said, James Shuford, how much have we spent? What has been accomplished? These are the only two data points you need. Massive fraud. Treating a mental health and drug addiction problem as a housing issue. It's like hunting deer with a fishing pole. I live in California, you goofy idiot. Yes, I do. I live right in LA, right next to LA County. I'm 12 minutes from downtown LA. Well, 13 probably right now. Not everyone, shut your ass up. The vast majority. I'll take you on Central and 89th Street. I will take you and introduce you to bums who sleep outside and burn trash for warmth. And they have keys to brand new apartments downtown LA. But they want to stay out all night because they want to get high. They want to stay out all night because they want to get high. We can go on Skid Row. There are people with keys to apartments on Skid Row sleeping in a cardboard box because they want to stay close to where the dope man is at. I worked on Skid Row for 2 whole years. You cannot tell me anything about homelessness in LA. They used to try to run this game. Let me tell you the stupidest thing about homelessness. So you'll get these church people, these ignorant ass people. They'll come down there every day and they'll give out food, right? They'll give out some sandwiches, whatever, so they can feel good about themselves. This lady was talking about, I just get a sandwiches to give back. I said, lady, in all your stupidity, do you realize that a homeless person can eat every meal, all 3 meals of the day, 10 times? Listen, if you go downtown LA and you're hungry, you can eat breakfast 10 times. You can eat lunch 10 times. You can eat dinner 10 times for free. And they purposely offset when they give away breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so you can eat at one place and then have enough time to walk over to another place, eat there, then have enough time to walk over to another shelter, eat there, then have enough time to walk over to another shelter and eat there. You can eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner 10 times downtown LA every single day of the week. When I tell you that there are people who work in corporate buildings downtown LA who eat homeless shelter breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day because it's free and it's not bad. It's good. It's good. The food is good. I'm not gonna lie. I've eaten it. The food is good. Mystery meat with gravy and mashed potato, fire. Fire. I'm just telling you. It's like a school cafeteria lunch. You can eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner 10 times downtown LA, and there are buffoons who will be outside handing out food. And I used to tell the people, all they do is take this, they might eat it, they might feed it to their dog, then they just throw trash everywhere. That's why downtown LA looks the way that's why Skid Row looks the way it looks. Most of that litter and stuff is from all the shit that people are coming down there to give away every day. These people are dope fiends with mental health issues, some of those mental health issues induced by the drug use. But they're going to keep telling you, oh, we got to fix homelessness. We got to fix homelessness, because that's how they're getting you to give money. And still, if they told you, we're going to take your money and get all these people off drugs, you would never send money. You would never vote. You would never, ever vote for these people, because we know that drug use and addiction is a choice. You're choosing to go get high. I look at this idiot. Now, you know, I want to read this last one. So this was someone's response to my thing. Say your house burns down. The bank forecloses on the property and the insurance company denies your claim. Oh, you mean like what happened in the Palisades? All of a sudden you're homeless. Now imagine trying to take care of yourself while continuing to work. And then by circumstances beyond your control, you lose your job. Now let me show you how stupid this guy is. If my house burns down and the bank forecloses, I'm not paying my mortgage. If my mortgage was $2,000, $2,400, $2,500 a month, that means I should have money to go pay a deposit. I'm gonna go keep going to work, and I'm gonna tell one of my friends, hey, let me crash on your couch for a month while I just stack my chips so I can go get me a place. These people are full of shit. You can go to the county building, they will give you a voucher for a motel for a whole month. There's so many resources already available. These people are on the street because they want to be on the street. They're not on the street because they have nowhere to go. But as long as they can keep convincing you that this is a problem that they can actually fix, that this is not a manufactured problem, that these people aren't outside because they want to be outside, you'll keep throwing money at it. Even this guy's example is stupid. Now imagine trying to take care of yourself while continuing to work. Then by circumstance beyond your control, you lose your job. Or your business stops being able to make money. Now after spending the last of your money just try to keep some semblance of a life, you find yourself with no way to get back to normal. If I had a job and I lose a job, I can get another job. There are help wanted signs all over the place in California because nobody wants to work. These people are able to live off of welfare, so they don't want to work. I'm sure I could find a job relatively quickly. There's 3 grocery stores in my neighborhood. Well, right less than a mile away. They all hiring. They're all hiring. I used to be a grocery manager. I'm pretty sure I could get hired on as a manager at one of these stores. There's so many resources, Joe. So many. You can go to Orange County and get food stamps on the computer. You ain't even got to go in the office. September, NYC will burn if Israel's prime minister come to New York. Well, let it burn. He's definitely going to come. Your resume is more impressive than a lot of these people, though. Well, I mean, listen. All I'm telling you, Azaziel, is this. They got jobs where you could do anything and make money. They have jobs. You can walk up to a construction site. Most of these construction sites will hire you on the spot. Even if it's all Mexicans, they'll hire you on the spot because they need people to hold the signs to tell you to stop and slow down. I'll go to construction sites and just be like, hey, man, y'all hiring? Dude would be like, yeah, we need people for traffic control. They're going to trailer right there. Or go over to this lot over down the street and there's a trailer. Go to it and tell them you want to get hired. There's jobs in LA, man. Why do you think all the illegal immigrants come here? There are jobs in LA. I'm just saying, there are jobs in LA. Boy, you can get a man. If you got a license, you could go get your CDL. You can go get your CDL and they will hire you. Soon as you get your CDL, they'll hire you. And you just work for the company that trains you. There's way too many resources out here, bro. There's no reason someone should not have a job, bro. I'm just saying. I know a girl getting remote jobs off of Craigslist, making money. Let me see something. Yeah, Karen Boss is a failure. LinkedIn got 1,000 jobs in LA. Hold on. Right now, in the city of LA, right now in the city of LA, there are over 200,000 job openings. Right now in the city of LA, there are over 200,000 job openings. Ranging from entry-level service roles to high-paying executive and government positions. Then they'll say, oh, but you can't afford to live in LA, man. It's a lie. It's a lie. I literally was just telling my bro about a spot for rent. Damn, I don't got the damn, it didn't upload. Freak. I'm mad now. Let me see if this went to here. Look, this week I just saw 2 dope spots for rent. Just randomly passing by. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to read this, but if you could see that, this is a house for rent that I was looking at, that I just looked at. Just I rolled by and I saw it, and when I see place for rent, I'll take pictures of the sign and I'll send it to friends who are looking for places or whatever, right? This spot is a beautiful, clean, spacious 2-bedroom, 1 bath, all utilities included, with an inside laundry, parking space, pets will be considered. House. This is a house. 7 blocks from the beach in a peaceful neighborhood that's literally, this house is literally across the street from my daughter's school. $2,500 a month. $2,500 a month. 2-bedroom house, all utilities included, parking space, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, inside laundry. Bro, for $2,500 a month. This is a nice place. But they'll swear to you, oh, you can't afford to live in a nice, extremely nice neighborhood. You can't afford to live. Just excuses, man. People in California are extremely entitled. That's what you got to understand. People in America, period, are extremely entitled. Who wouldn't want to live literally, you can walk to the beach in like 10 minutes. Maybe 12 to 15 minutes. You can walk to the beach. Now, me, I live closer to the beach. I'm 2 blocks from the beach. But that's 7 blocks from the beach. That's right by my daughter's school. My daughter walks from here to school. She walks over there in about 10, 12 minutes, $2,500 a month. That's cheap. And then I saw another place. I don't know if I still have the photo. Oh, I don't know what I did with that photo. I must have deleted it. There was another 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but it was an apartment, 2060, 2060, 2060. 2-bedroom, 10 blocks from the beach, 2060 for a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. $2,000 basically. Utilities included. Come on, guys. Don't tell. There's no reason for anybody to be homeless. Trust me. They got people all online. Just give me $3,000. I'll give you the keys to this place. You know, you could pay for it or you don't. If you don't, you can pay for it or not. Give me X amount of dollars. No credit check. No, none of that. I'm gonna hand you the keys. This is all excuses, man. And these are excuses from people who are doing mental gymnastics to justify why they keep giving these politicians our money. Why they keep voting to give these corrupt politicians our money so that they can continue to defraud us. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I may be on, I may not be on. But tomorrow's my birthday. So maybe I'll just get up in the morning and come holler at y'all before I start doing whatever it is I'm doing. But I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Till the next time, take care of yourselves. But most importantly, please take care of each other. Peace.